Hi, and welcome to So Well Business. I'm your host, Denicia Jones. Today, we'll talk about how to save your assets through estate planning. Our guests, Zakia Norton and Samita Bazoo of Norton Bazoo LLP. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So Norton and Bazoo LLP, Norton Bazoo LLP has offices in LA and San Francisco. You specialize in estate planning. You have an amazing podcast. I love the name, the State of Mind. How did this all start for you?
Well, this was born out of necessity. Samita and I were both coming from big law and had small children, and we're trying to figure out the next step. And I think both of us had decided pretty firmly that we didn't want to go back to big law life for all of the obvious reasons. And we were trying to figure out what was going to be next for us. And while we were figuring it out, we both decided, unbeknownst to each other, to start doing some pro bono work for a legal aid organization called Bay Area Legal Aid. And we met the first day, I think, and both had our assumptions about each other. But once they put our desks next to each other and we both saw how each other worked and how our approach to being lawyers and to practicing law, we just realized that, we really complemented each other. And we started getting told to stop laughing so much all the time while we were doing our work. And so we decided, you know what, let's go out on our own.
So with the company, you decided to focus on comprehensive estate planning. What's your target market? Tell us a little bit about what the benefits are.
Estate planning is an area where you can really help your family a lot if you do an estate plan in time while you still have capacity, and before any sort of tragedy hits. And as we know, that can happen at any time. Okay. So a comprehensive estate plan includes, for most people, a living trust, which is something that can be changed throughout your lifetime, a power of attorney for financial matters, an advanced healthcare directive, and what we call a pour-over will, which is a document that works in conjunction with your trust. So those items together will take care of your beneficiaries when you're no longer here, but it also takes care of you if you lose capacity and can't care for yourself.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. I worked at Citibank for a little bit, and I swear to you, I had a lot of folks going into probate because they decided to get their estate planning done through a website that most folks know about. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'd love to share a little. I'd love you to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of folks, they think, okay, I'll just get a trust online. But if it's not up to date with the state requirements and, the wording, it's like automatically probate. Have you ever had experiences with particular folks that come to you with those issues?
Yeah, and I think, it's best summed up by you don't know what you don't know. So when you're using those online resources to try to get things done, you aren't in the best position to know if those documents are legally valid, if they're really meeting all of the needs of your family. I can tell you that no two families are the same, and no two estate plans that we've done have been the same. So it doesn't seem reasonable to think that, a one size fits all is going to work for your particular family. There's so many what we call soft issues that are at play, just in terms of the nature of family dynamics, personal wishes, things like that, those kinds of forms aren't really going to be able to contemplate. And they're also not going to be able to advise you. Maybe there's 3 different ways you could achieve something, but what's really the best way for you and for your family? What's the most practical way forward? And so that's really the piece I think that we're able to provide to our clients. And that's really the value that they're looking for when they seek out our firm.
With regards to estate planning, what are the areas that you focus on mostly right now?
So we do estate planning, which is nice. That's our area of, it's preventative measures, which is nice. We also do when things have gone sideways, yes, which is probate, which you were talking about. So you're in the midst of grief and now we've kind of got a mess to clean up. We also do conservatorships. Again, we've maybe missed a couple things here and there. And so now someone's lost capacity. And so we can't do an estate plan, but we still need to protect them. And luckily a conservatorship can do that. And then we also do litigation, both on the probate side and on the trust side.
So what are common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making with regards to estate planning?
I think the biggest mistake is that they don't do an estate plan. And if they do one, they're not addressing their business. So not only do you want to worry about your house and your bank accounts, but if you are a business owner, whether you're a sole proprietorship or an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp, no matter how you run your business, you need to address that in your estate plan, because what will happen is you will end up in probate if you don't, for that part of your estate, if you don't take care of it and address it in your estate plan. So it's very important to think about that. And the person who you want to handle your business affairs might not be the person you want to handling your personal affairs.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure you pick the right person, somebody who can communicate with your clients and kind of either transition your business to somebody else or close up shop, whatever it is that you want to do. So it's really important to deal with that in your estate plan.
I think a couple other issues related to that too are that, for one, if you're in a business that has special kinds of licenses and certain people, your spouse or your friends, they can't run that business for you. You have to find somebody else who has that same type of license or, falls under XYZ regulation. That's important to make sure that you have that person lined up, especially as Smita said, if you're a sole proprietor. I mean, we're lucky in that either one of us can step up should that arise. The other issue I would say is, even if you're not in one of those specialty kind of businesses, if something happens to, let's say, your partner, whoever you're in business with, do you want to be in business with their spouse? Because that is what will happen if you have to go through probate. So it's better to address those things in your operating agreement or whatever document you're using that's governing how you run your business. And that should work in conjunction with your estate plan.
Do you see many businesses, entrepreneurs having like an exit strategy, just like ready to go? Or I kind of guess that was the case.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
No, I think it's either one or the other that usually triggers. So either they've talked with maybe a financial advisor, or they're thinking about life insurance, and that sort of triggers what's my business succession plan, and part of that needs to be your estate plan, or they come to us and we're raising the other issue. Those two things need to be speaking to each other, certainly.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Definitely. And thanks for bringing that up. When should someone focus on getting their estate planning set up? And for those who have an estate plan, when should they revisit it so it's up to date?
Good question. So I would say, number one is you should be doing your estate plan while you're healthy and while you have full capacity. So, because once those things are gone, our options become very limited. In terms of dollars and cents, in California, the threshold to get into probate is $150,000. So that means that if the sum total of your assets, and again, we're talking fair market value. So if the sum total of your assets is $150,000 or more, and you don't have a trust, then you will go through probate in order to distribute all of your assets to your beneficiaries or your heirs. So before that time, certainly a will, power of attorney, advanced healthcare directive, all good things to have, because we like to think we're going to live forever and nothing's going to happen, but I think recent events prove otherwise. In terms of dollars and cents, though, I would say definitely start thinking about adding the trust piece to your estate plan the minute that your assets are over $150,000. And in California, if you own half a stick of grass and some twigs, I'm sure that the real property value of that is over $150,000. So
yeah, if you're in any of the
under that umbrella.
LA, San Francisco, San Diego, any place that's not in the middle of nowhere.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah, and then you want to revisit it every year or anytime there is a major life event. So if you do your estate plan and 6 months later you get married, or you have a baby, or you bought a house, or you sold a house, those are all instances where you need to get back in touch with your attorney and figure out what amendments need to be made. So life events, otherwise we say you probably want to take a look at it every year just to make sure it still has what you want to happen. Relationships change. Maybe you wanted to give something to your brother or your sister, and now you don't like them anymore, or you're not speaking to them anymore, so you want to take them out. So you want to make sure it still reflects your wishes. And ideally, you would have an attorney who would reach out to you when there's a major change in the law. We reach out to our clients and inform them of major changes that might affect their estate plan.
Right, that you're connecting with them once a year. I don't hear estate attorneys that do that. And life is just so fast these days. It's such a good idea.
Yeah. And that's a common and unfortunate accurate, I think, assessment of the legal industry as a whole, which is that, a lot of clients that we end up, of course, getting are people who are disillusioned with their lawyer just not picking up the phone or reaching out to them and trying to give them, this kind of information. And so that's a big part of, why we are in very close contact with our clients and reaching out all the time. And, we're always just trying to be proactive. That's you're in the best position possible if you could be proactive instead of reacting to, whatever has transpired.
Absolutely. I know you're both entrepreneurs, you're business partners, you're busy moms. What are some tips that you can give entrepreneur parents on how to stay healthy and happy throughout everything else that's going on? So you don't.
Are we uniquely qualified for that? I'm not sure. I think we're still learning some of that ourselves, and certainly we have to correct ourselves.
Now, that doesn't mean all the time, but most of the
Right.
time, okay, guys? I mean, being an entrepreneur, we know that there's gonna be days we're not happy and we're not healthy and we just bounce it out the next day. Like, all right, yesterday was this way. Okay, we're gonna start new today.
Yes. I mean, I think it takes mindfulness, and that has been a struggle for Samita and I, but we have reached a place where now we'll block out one day a week that's just, for either for us to get actual work done instead of responding to client requests, putting out fires, or an actual mental health day and say, like, let's go to the movies or let's go to the beach or let's just something where we can decompress. Because we can't do that because after we're done working this job, we're going to work our second job as parents. So I think it takes, being deliberate about blocking out time and making sure that you hold that time sacred. And I think the other thing that we just lucked into in that we really didn't know each other when we started our business. So we were business partners first, lawyers, and then eventually became best friends. And now we're basically the same person. So we have a sounding board.
Soulmates.
Yes, we have
For the
a
business
sounding board in each other.
best friends or like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
for the business folks, the wellness folks we already know. Like
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you can't go it alone. So even if you're, solo, or you're just on your own, you really have to have like a network of just people to just vent to sometimes. And so that's really important. The other thing is just knowing when to say no. You have to learn to say no, whether it's to your kids or to clients or, potential new clients where you just can't, you don't have the capacity for it.
Or to that pint of ice cream.
Or to the ice cream.
Sometimes
That's
we say no
right.
to that.
That's right. The chocolate cake in my instance. So,
That's right.
you have to
apple
learn
pie
to
for me,
draw
apple
the
pie for me.
boundaries. Yeah. You got to learn how to draw the boundaries, and it's a ongoing skill. You keep refining it and keep working on it. There are times you say yes when you wish you hadn't. Even now we do that, but you keep learning what your boundaries should be, and you learn your lessons, and you try not to make the same mistake twice.
Right. It's so funny because some of the things that you're mentioning is exactly what other folks on the show have mentioned. And one thing I've noticed with entrepreneurs, boundaries. I learned boundaries, how important boundaries were probably a year ago, and I've been just kind of strengthening that muscle. But it really brings more peace of mind when you are able to just say yes for yourself. Say no to others to say yes to what you have to do and to achieve your goals and what you need to do for yourself. So
Right. And that doesn't come naturally. I think it's all something that we all
no.
had to be deliberate about, right? And realizing that, across all, I think, spectrums of our lives.
Yeah.
And one thing we say about, we like to have clients that we really like working with and working for. And so not all money is good money. And I think as an entrepreneur, when you're first starting out, that's really hard to stick by because you need to pay the bills. And I understand that. But we definitely live by that now because one bad, Apple client that's just making life miserable is not worth any money they're bringing in because now you're not even being your best self in any of your other roles as, lawyers to the other clients or, at home. I mean, any of those things. So learning, I think, again, boundaries, just as you said, that's just huge.
So how do viewers find you on social media?
So you can find us at our website, which is www.nortonbastu.com. We also are on Facebook. You can check our page there. We're on Twitter. We're on the Twitter with the tweets. And we both are active on LinkedIn. So kind of anywhere Al Gore's internets are, you can find us.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah.
There you have it. Great tips on improving your life through estate planning from our friends Zakia Norton and Zamita Bazoo of Norton Bazoo LLP. If you like this and want more tips and tricks on business and wellness topics that keep you uplifted, inspired, and balanced, like us and subscribe to our channel below. And if you think that the items on this particular show would be beneficial to your friends, share us. They'd be happy you did. To all my beautiful souls who are finding their way with grace and ease, thank you for joining us. And until the next time, be beautiful and be well.